Welcome all you merry gentlemen and gentlewomen to the world's finest modern day Nickelodeon known as YouTube. I am mediocre artist RVRocks and I'll be your entertainment for this evening. As someone who loves playing video games a thorough amount, you can assume that I would just jump at the opportunity to experience an adventure through a new point of view. And through the wonderful world of video games and animation, anything conceivable can be your hero. Perhaps even a cup. Let's dive in. You know, there's really something to admire about someone so committed to their project that they're willing to put major parts of their lives at risk. And that's exactly what brothers Chad and Jared Moldenhauer did to create Cuphead, originally starting as just a boss rush until the brothers got criticism for it and decided to buck up and make the game they wanted without compromising the experience, trying to emulate games like Contra. And they even ended up remortgaging their house. If you haven't read up on the backstory to this game's development, it's honestly fascinating. Seeing this start out as a small project and then promptly snowballing into an indie project that provides an experience to rival a AAA game. Nothing against Nintendo, but you know if they released a Mario game in this style, they would have put it up for $60. Cuphead, however, is $20 and more original than the last 4 New Super Mario Bros. Games. And not only is it more original, it's also becoming more and more of a cultural icon. There's Cuphead merch everywhere nowadays, and it's even getting its own Netflix show. Cuphead focuses on this dickhole of a Cup and his Chad brother. One day, Cuphead, despite warnings from his dad Kettle, decides to lure poor Mugman out to the casino. The boys win a whole bunch before the devil himself decides to wager their souls for the possibility of all the money in said casino. Mugman has his handle on straight and is weary, knowing how every casino-related plotline ends. But Cuphead decides to go for it anyways, and the brothers lose their souls. However, to save their own asses, the brothers wager that they can collect all the other soul contracts from those who owe the devil, before the next day at midnight, in exchange to keep their souls. From there, you choose your character. Naturally, I chose Mugman. And you have to run, gun, and murder all these big bad bosses in order to keep your soul from the devil. Don't get me wrong, the story is not very involved, but it's presented in such a charming manner that it's hard not to be enthused. Plus, this game's focus is the gameplay, so a very involved story is not necessary. Cuphead is a run and gun shooter, in a similar vein to Contra and Metal Slug. However, maybe this is just my modern gamer brain speaking, but I think it manages to exceed both those games by a wide margin. The gameplay is mostly boss fights, with fun albeit too few run and gun stages to break up between them. These stages basically consist of you shooting dudes going from left to right with a few mini bosses. However, the meat of this game really lies in the boss fights. It's almost impossible to describe how they managed to keep a boss fight formula this solid. The boss fights all vary wildly in terms of strategies to defeat them, but they all have one thing in common. They all know how to make you feel like you were just on the cusp of beating them. And a large part of this has to do with the way they present the boss's health bar. The health bar, while not being shown during the fight, is presented as a cute little progress bar at the end, with each little notch between the start and the end being a phase of the boss fight. They managed to establish a perfect boss fight formula and establish it well enough to turn it on its head a few times at the end. The King dice serving as my favorite example of this, acting as a gauntlet of mini bosses as opposed to one big boss. My favorite boss in the game, however, is Cagney Carnation. Not only does he have the best theme in the game, more on that later, but he also has these sweet moves going on. However, fuck Dr. Call's robots. None of these fights were ever frustrating beyond belief until I met this robot. As far as what you can customize for your cup/mug friend, there is a decent amount of customizable moves and charms, but frankly, once I unlocked the charge shot and the smoke dash, I really didn't switch off. However, there are 3 types of special move, and I actually switch between these quite often. A powerful milk beam, a spell of invincibility, and Cuphead summoning his own stand in order to do maximum damage. As well as these moves, you also have plain boss battles, which are basically just shoot 'em ups with bullet hell segments. You can also parry pink things, and by the end of this game, it basically becomes second nature. I've somehow gotten this far without talking about how fucking amazing this entire game's style is, and what else can I say besides wow? There's a reason this game has garnered so much attention before it became what we know it as today. The art style is completely hand-drawn, with the game running at 60 FPS and animations at 24 FPS, like old-style Fleischer/Disney animations, with certain props in the background actually being physical models, like the tower for Grim Matchstick. Oh, and the music. God, the music is so good. Some hit harder than others, of course, but you don't know pure joy until you hear Floral Fury in all its glory. Also, shout out to Marine Corps. Both are pure porn to the ears. Also, did you know that the guy who made this hadn't even composed a video game soundtrack before? You know the game is good when watching the behind-the-scenes videos is almost as good as playing the game itself. Now, if I have not presented it as clear yet, this game is very well damn near perfect in my eyes. A challenging yet rewarding gameplay loop, a mostly balanced set of skills, and remarkably stimulating material to both the eyes and the ears. Cuphead gets a 9 out of 10, and no less than that. Now, if you excuse me, I need to get to designing my own cup sona. Are those out of style yet?